What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've got some more Destiny 2 stuff to round up and discuss for things happening in-game right now, some things soon, and of course things in the future for the Forsaken DLC. So I went through and picked out what appears to be the 9th new super for the Sentinel subclass, which obviously so far nobody spotted just yet because Bungie did a pretty good job at hiding it inside the trailer. I'll also be going over why machine guns or LMGs have been a very big topic of discussion recently based on what Bungie have said. We've got even more Forsaken exotics besides the ones that obviously seen, some Reef characters and what they're up to, and of course some more stuff happening inside Destiny 2 right now. So as usual, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do and want to support this channel, then a like rating down below is massively appreciated, and let's get into it. So far from the footage, we've seen 8 of the 9 new supers coming in the DLC. Some of them are a bit more obvious than others in terms of what they do, but you probably noticed one of the supers was not shown off inside the trailer, and that is the Void Sentinel class. So I was combing through the footage to try and get screenshots and see if I could spot anything else, and I found this one shot which is pretty interesting, and you can see what could be most likely the Sentinel super. So there are a bunch of shots where you can see Guardians kind of fighting each other through mid-air fights, kind of showing off these new bows in action. And in this one shot, you can see a bunch of these spinning kind of void discs hurling towards this hunter who's firing at someone. They definitely look very, very similar to those Void Sentinel shields that you can of course throw during the super, but they're of course not the same thing. These are basically jagged saw blades, definitely not something that any of the PvE enemies throw. I went through the entire trailer and tried to find any PvE enemy that fires these kind of void discs, but literally not a single one fires them. Any of them that actually do void just fire the little regular small bullets or little missiles, but again, not these massive like saw discs. In this one clip, you can see 3 of them flying past the hunter, and this other clip, you can see another one flying past him as well. I did think it was pretty strange for Bungie to show off 8 of the 9 supers in this trailer. Why not just show the extra one? So it would make a lot of sense for this to be that 9th super, just very well hidden inside this trailer. I mean, even the way they fly is literally identical to the same way when you throw the Sentinel shield. So either they've copy and pasted it and put it in some PvE enemy, which I doubt, or this is the new Sentinel super where you can just throw a bunch of them. Also, just thematically, it makes a ton of sense for this to be what the Sentinel is missing, because you got the Defender bubble, which of course is very defensive. You have the Sentinel, which is kind of like an offensive roaming melee super with a little bit of range, and this one would be a full-on range attack where you can stand back and just throw a bunch of shields. But again, the fact it is missing from the trailer, and it would make the perfect 3rd super for the Sentinel. I do think this is going to be its super, but of course, let me know down below, what do you guys think about this? So moving on, the next thing I wanted to talk about is the topic of machine guns, which has been a very big topic recently because of certain things Bungie said inside this reveal. I know a ton of you guys noticed it as well and were asking me, why did both Lars and Josh Hamrick say machine gun inside the trailer? They were talking about the new bow and arrow weapon and joking, saying, why would you want a bow and arrow when you got machine gun? And that's a nice machine gun, here's a bow and arrow. That obviously led a lot of people to think, are machine guns coming back? Why did they say that twice? Unfortunately, it seems they kind of misspoke and didn't exactly mean machine guns. So Josh Hamrick cleared up on Twitter and said, FYI, when Lars and I both referred to machine guns in today's Vidoc, we were talking about auto rifles. Just want to clear that up sooner than later. But he did finish it with, that being said, your thunderous excitement has been noted, with a winky face. So there is still hope. He's saying how they know we want machine guns back really badly, so maybe they'll do it one day. They've noted it. Also, him saying thunderous excitement is of course a reference, if you don't know, to the Thunderlord, one of the most famous exotics in Destiny 1. I'm pretty sure Thunderlord was the first ever exotic we got to see in Destiny when they got it from that Fallen boss in that first ever gameplay premiere. Something I realized is the whole reason Bungie took machine guns out was pretty much for balance, seeing as snipers and fusions, which used to be special weapons, are now inside heavy weapon categories. Having machine guns in there as well didn't really make too much sense and wouldn't have been very good for balance. If heavy weapons or power ammo is now going to be the big things like grenade launchers, rocket launchers, and swords, then I don't see any reason why machine guns can't be added back. So it is even more likely now with this DLC, I think. So machine guns aren't 100% coming back for sure, but Josh Hamrick did kind of leave a little bit of possibility that maybe one day they will, and of course they know how much we want to see them back in the game. So like I said, I combed through every single frame of this trailer to try and point out anything that was interesting, and I want to round up all 10 or at least 10 exotics I found. The Titan's gauntlets are very, very weird looking. They've got little dragons in the corners. They're giant metal shoulder pads. You got little purple bits of light bursting out of them. No way these are legendary. If they are, then they're very impressive. But again, they've got mini dragon skulls in the corner, so these are definitely going to be exotics. The Warlock on the right there is wearing some new exotic boots. Now the reason we know this is because in the trailer they were talking about brand new exotics, and on the screen popped this thing. So these are again obviously exotic looking boots. You can see the shape and also the lights of them are the same as this one on the developer's screen, so the same exotic boots. Interestingly enough, we can actually spy on the developer's screen and see exactly what the text says, so we can kind of almost make out what the perk of this thing does. Obviously Obviously, it is development stuff, so it might not be final, but you can see a bunch of perks and basically abilities that you can apply to each exotic. It's really interesting to see behind the scenes of how these exotics are actually built, but you can see the actual perk that this checkbox is under, funny enough. It says arc beam damage extends super, arc beam damage extends super perk definition, and also arc beam extends super float perk. That, of course, is for the new Stormcaller super, where you go in the air and you do this massive beam, so when you get kills that thing, the more kills you get is going to extend the duration of it. I feel like we're really seeing behind the scenes right now, but you can see Warlock, exotic, arms, and then chest, and inside the chest category, you can see additional fusion grenade charge, and that, of course, is the Starfire protocol. Some other ones under the helmet category are Disorient on shield throw, Disorient on ward and shield, which would be the Saint 14 helmet, which does that exactly. The weapon in the Warlock's hands appears to be a new trace rifle, so it's got the same design as the Cold Heart and Prometheus lens. Maybe it's the Void one, but you can see the three kind of bulbs off the side of it, kind of like a Wonder Waff from COD Zombies, and also the red light. So this is the same one as this icon you can see right here. You can also see this Hunter firing a Void trace rifle, which could be finally the Void version of Cold Heart, and appears to be the same weapon. It's got the same red light in it. Another exotic, which they did show in the trailer, is this exotic arc bow. This is one I did get to use myself, but I can't say much about it other than the fact it is very, very, very cool, as you might imagine. I'm pretty sure next week I should be able to talk about it and maybe get some gameplay as well, but this thing is so, so cool. We also have this exotic hand cannon, the one with Taken energy all over it. Looks a bit like Thorn, but obviously it's not. It's a different weapon, but this is the icon for it. In the same shot, you can see a Titan with a very unique looking auto rifle. It's almost like a Gatling gun with the end of it, but it's also got these red glowing hot pipes. Of course, we have some of the more obvious ones like the Daito rocket launcher called Twin Rabbit. This one shoots 2 rockets, 1 Void and 1 Solar. We also have an exotic Void sword, which the Titan is using a lot, and this one seems to be a bit like the Bolt Caster from Destiny 1, in that you can shoot projectiles and it destroys a bunch of enemies at once. There are also some other weapons which do kind of look exotic, but we can't 100% say for sure they are. Like, for example, this auto rifle the Warlock is holding. It looks very cool and unique, but we can't be 100% sure if it is exotic or not. There is also another screen we can see with an untextured cutscene going on, and it's Petrovenge talking to a fallen captain or some kind of fallen character. It could be this fallen guy who's sort of an ally to us. We see him in the trailer talking to us. I talked about Petrovenge recently inside a video, saying how Lord Tabs may be indicated she was talking to the Nine on behalf of the Queen. Either way, Petrovenge is still alive. As for Varix and the Queen and Prince Aldrin, we still haven't seen them just yet, but you can almost guarantee we are going to see them at some point, because obviously they're very important characters to the Reef. Now, I did also want to speak quickly about Faction Rally. Obviously, things are pretty different this time around. Of course, seeing as you can only pledge to 1 faction per rally event, so per character, you want to get to rank 50, the max rank, and get the exotic catalyst and also the ornament as well. To do that, you need 1,000 tokens, which may seem like a lot, but if you grind in the right way, in the ways I'm going to show you, it isn't too difficult. It is obviously still a grind. It's going to take you a bit of time to get 1,000, but it is definitely doable if you do the right things. So of course, like I've been saying, Renown is the new main system to multiply how many tokens you get. If you do lost sectors or public events, you get a few tokens, but Renown is this new kind of buff system, which is going to get you a ton of them. You can get Renown by doing patrols or public events or killing high value targets, opening a little chest thing. Once you get to maximum 5 stacks, you take more damage, you deal less damage, you move slower, and also your regen is slow as well. For this, I would definitely recommend the Crimson hand cannon. It's probably the best weapon you can use right now, obviously the health regeneration. One of the main tips I can give you is to make sure you wear your full armor set of said faction. So this is going to get you a bunch more renown, save you a ton of time, and it's going to get you tokens obviously a lot faster. Without a doubt, it is best to be a Warlock during this faction rally, because obviously Devour, you can get a ton of health back and it makes renown so much less painful. Hunters are obviously very weak, so you might want to put in the Wormhusk crown to get a bit of health regen back, but again, you should also try to use the faction armor where you can. But the main thing is to make sure you do all those daily milestones for the tokens, and that gets you quite a lot of them. On the first day, I got, I think, 125 tokens in like 30-40 minutes just by doing 1 lost sector on each character, the milestones. Again, it gets you a bunch of tokens. So even though pledging is account-wide, you still can get individual milestones for separate characters, so make sure you get those done. So on my Hunter, I've got 281 tokens so far from honestly not that much play, and that puts me about a quarter of the way towards those 1,000 tokens I need for rank 50. And yes, I did pledge the Dead Orbit, by the way, because I want that Graviton Lance Catalyst, simple as that. My Hunter from Destiny 1 has always been Dead Orbit, so I'm kind of trying to keep up the trend. Although so far in Destiny 2, I've never properly pledged to Dead Orbit and done a bunch of grinding. I've always gone for New Monarchy or Future War Cult. I actually do have a full set of New Monarchy armor for my Hunter, but I don't have Dead Orbit, so I'm definitely missing out on the extra renown. I'm probably not going to get a full set of Dead Orbit armor now, but hopefully you can get some of it. Got 2 Masterwork weapons so far, but I also want to see, just in general, what kind of stuff you can get from here. I think the best thing is probably really just the Masterwork gear, to be honest. I'm now remembering why Faction Rally loot is really not that fantastic. But the foregone conclusion, which I'm pretty sure is like a random Banshee weapon. What's actually inside these loot pools? Can anyone tell me why there's green and like brown gold in a dead orbit shader? Yeah, I think the main thing is just armor sets and just Masterworks, really. So we got the cloak. We got, these aren't the boots. We got the chest piece. We got some arms. Nope. And we got a helmet. So we got a good bit of armor. I'm also, of course, as you know, edging ever closer to 385. Oh, actually got a cloak. That's exactly what I needed. All right, let's put that in. That's 381. That was my lowest item. So now this stuff should start dropping a bit higher. All right, Zavala, get me to 385. So these arms are 82. This is really slow. I feel like something's holding me back. I'll put this into my beloved Crimson, make that 82. What else you got? A chest piece and another hand cannon. Is that an upgrade? It is not an upgrade. Cheers, Zavala. At least this is a pretty good upgrade from 79 to 82. Shax has 78 engram, which is going to be arms and a fusion rifle. That should be pretty good, actually. I can put it into my sleeper. So that is 78, which is going to make this into 83. And this is 78 as well, which is barely an upgrade. I think 83 is now my main cap. And finally, with Hawthorne, we have a set of boots and a pulse rifle. That's actually perfect as well, because these should be a nice 83. And of course, I can put the pulse rifle into my raid pulse that I use all the time. So it's actually the exact weapons I use a lot. And there we go, 83. So now we are 82, just barely. 3 and 4. So we've got 4 items at 383 right now. We're getting ever closer. But there you go. That's going to do it for today's video. Of course, as always, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, a like rating down below is much appreciated. Like I always say, got a bunch of videos on the way with next week for E3. Look out on this channel. Make sure you are subscribed if you aren't already. Until then, though, if you want to watch another video from me, click this image on screen right now to be taken to it. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.